What do Kehlani, Trust and The Hills all have in common? Apart from being fire tracks, they have 0 chords between them. Now I love a minor 9 as much as the next producer, but there is a super valuable lesson here that taking out chords can sometimes take you somewhere else that you wouldn't necessarily have gone production wise, and also leave space and pockets for an artist to do their thing over the top. I haven't seen anyone deconstruct this before, and I'm going to show you today how you can use these techniques to make some incredible music yourself. And you're going to see why so many producers and big artists decide to leave out the chords. Just listen to this playing in the background right now. Because sometimes it's all about what you leave out, not what you put in. Listen to this.
Okay, I like your confidence. It's what the climate is okay, like Kehlani's.
If Kehlani had chords, this is what they might be, but instead we get this soaring bass line with this Summer Walker sample and this interesting drum groove that borrows a lot from drill. The bass line is leading our ear to where the harmony should go without even hearing it. A perfect recipe for alternative, fresh sounding R&B. But far from being the first to do this has been going on in R&B for many years. In fact, Single Ladies, I believe that they wrote it using chords and then removed the chords after. So if you listen to that song, one of the biggest hits that Beyonce had, you're going to hear that there's no chords there, just implied harmony, which is so powerful. Timbaland, again, a genius at not using chords but implying them, or even using a riff in unison. So bum bum ch, bum 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 bum, and you could do a similar kind of idea as well. Take a minor scale and bum take the chords out. But this little progression here you're hearing underneath is actually from Brent Faiyaz's Trust, but he doesn't use the chords, he just implies them again. You don't believe me? Well, just check this out. I'm going to slowly fade these chords out. And that's what we all know and love, right? For me, the essence of this alternative sound, this ethereal ambient sound, is this repeating, reversing melody that we're hearing now, coupled with some ad-lib vocals that are reverbed out. And you can try, singing into your phone, sending it to your computer, and then putting a long reverb on there. You can play a simple melody and reverse it, just like Missy Elliott said, right? And hold on, that's another song without any chords. Do you see what I'm getting at here? Yeah, so listen to these chords now, right? Beautiful, emotional. There's several words you could use to describe them. If you do want to learn how to make these kind of chords, then hit me up for a one-to-one on IG, B-Sticks Production. Go follow me. Copper free mini kit. The link is in the description if you haven't got one already, but you may well have. But there's new stuff that's going to be coming soon anyway. But these chords are beautiful, and this is a common R&B progression in E flat major, and we've got a 6, which is the C minor. We're playing a C minor 9. We're going to a 4 chord, which is a flat or G sharp major 9, playing an F minor 9, and then we're going just to that A flat major chord as our kind of tension chord before we come back to that C minor. Now, I may have lied a little bit. There may be a bit of a chord in the pre-chorus, but it's kind of difficult to tell. It sounds like a guitar possibly. It may be playing one note with like pedals and effects and stuff, but what I can tell you is that for the drop, the chords definitely come out. I'm going to drop them out. Now I'm going to fade them. Goodbye, pretty chords. See you next time. And we put the vocal on top. I'll get copyright striked if I play too much of this, so let's stop. But your brain put together the rest, because you know that song, everyone does. It's a great track. It just goes to illustrate that once you take the chords out, you're leaving so much space for the vocal. Let's face it, I love flexing my production muscles as much as the next guy, but it's all about vocals, it's all about letting them shine, because the song is what's going to sell, right? At the end of the day, the simpler things are, the more you take out, the more satisfying it is, the more space you're leaving. That's the ultimate lesson. So yeah, let's address the elephant in the room, which is like, okay, but I don't know chords or progressions. So it's all very well you saying take the chords out, but how do I know them in the first place? Well, the good news is you just need to know a couple of tried and tested progressions, like a 2-3-4 or a 6-2-5-1. And if you learn them in one key, which is just C major / A minor, then you can transpose them to all different keys. And if you don't even need to know fancy like minor nines and all these different things that are like overwhelming. The basic progression with the root notes, like in just simple triad forms, will work for this. And if you want to know more about these chords, then like check out some of my like 2-chord magic videos, or make incredible samples from just 2 chords, and that'll give you all the information that you really need. Shameless plug as well. But anyway, I just had to say that before you're like start coming for me in the comments saying, yeah, but I don't know how to make these words. So anyway, without further ado, let's get back to it. So here we are, guys. Like, I honestly am too good to you, but I thought we'd take that track from the very beginning of the video and deconstruct it, and I'd just show you a couple of ways that you can think about removing chords from your productions. And to start with, you can program some chords and then just remove them, or you could just think about a progression that you like and just program the bass line in without any chords and just start with, you know, the bass and some drums. Like, I tend to like to use chords and then remove them if I'm gonna do this, because I just find that otherwise it's just so empty. I can't really get a hold of other elements and melodic elements that I want to put in. So I did start with these chords here, and it's a simple progression in D minor, a D minor 9 going to an F sort of major chord. Then I went to this C chord, like the 5 chord in F major. Then I went to this D chord again, but I changed the melody notes on top, which did change the chord qualities themselves. We've gone from like this D minor 9 here with this E on top into this like F kind of major 7th here. Then we've got like this C major triad with a C on top. And you notice this C note goes through all of the chords. Love common tones, I always go on about them. And it's like a D minor 7th with the D on top for the end. Put a bass line in, you got this. And I'm just using the Omnisphere Mode Growler bass, but I'm going to show you in a sec how you can make this simple sort of sawtooth bass. And the bass sound is really the key in these kind of beats and samples, because it's going to take up a lot of space. If you notice any of those tracks we had, the only odd one out was Trust, which had more of a live sounding bass. It was still moving a lot, but the other two, and what you mainly find, especially in the weekend, he loves doing this. You're going to hear that like big pulsating, often pulsating, sometimes just flat sounding sawtooth bass. And I'll show you how we can make that quickly as well. So if you just grab Vital, and you're going to by default have a sawtooth in there, and you can just pitch it down all the way to like say -24, and you could up the unison a little bit. And I've just got a 1 note programmed in there. I'll show you. Sounds really gnarly, right? But what we can do is just turn the filter on, and you're immediately in that ballpark of having that sawtooth bass. You can add a second oscillator, send it to the same filter, and maybe like have this one just an octave down. And this might be a bit weird here because our low one has got unison. You don't want a lower sound that you've got like your sub to have unison really, and you know, I'll maybe avoid that, but you get the idea anyway. Like, you'll be in the ballpark with a sound like this already. You know, you can use that as a sawtooth bass, literally made in seconds. So try that for yourselves. Vital's totally free, and thank me later. So yeah, I used the Mode Growler bass. We've got that with the chords, and I just added some percussion in here. So you've just got like this little percussion is giving you that, you know, a rhythm. Once I remove the chords, it's going to sound a bit empty. What can we do? Well, I went for Sky Keys and I just programmed in an arpeggio. You can see my MIDI here. I love using plucky sounds when I'm going to reverse it and turn it into something else. Although obviously you never know what you're going to get when you reverse something. I'd put money that something like this will sound super fire when it's reversed. Try things like adding notes in higher octaves, like randomly, like, you know, you can put a note up there like that, because that will sound really nice if you reverse it. I didn't on this occasion, but yeah, it's a tip for you there. I bounced this out and reversed it and was left with this. You know, it just sounds crazy off the bat. No chords necessary at all. Now, I wanted to add another element as the sample, if you want to call it a sample, developed. And they're not chords as such. I mean, you know, sue me if you think these are chords, but they're like intervals or 2-note dyads, I guess you'd call them, instead of triads. I mean, you could call them a chord, but the way that they sound on this preset here is not really chordy. It's more just, you know, it's giving us more texture, more ambience, more of that emotional kind of thing going on, which just adds to that overall vibe, you know. And an artist could easily, you know, like yeah. I'm no artist, but you can vibe on that easily. Really giving you that kind of weekend type alternative R&B, but still got a bit of a pop sensibility to it. You can take this any which way you want, but I just wanted to show you the fundamentals of the principle of like having some chords, taking them out, and then, you know, being able to make something great without any chords in. So hopefully I've showed you how you can use 0 chords to make something fire. And if you're interested in a one-to-one, hit me up, like and subscribe. Check the video up in the top corner for more source, and I'll catch you next time.